Shalom, all praises to the Heavenly Father, Anu Kuya. Praise be to the earthly mother, the Pachamama, and all of her earthly angels, their Kadeshwe. Praise be to the Holy Spirit, the Kahe, in the name of his only begotten Son, Motsah, the Lamb, unification to the nation. So guys, today we're going to continue on what we were speaking on yesterday. And in this video we're going to go over Ezion-Geber, the Straits of Magellan, as well as the Valley of the Moon, and how it connects with Mount Sinai. So I wanted to read this first part. The sea that takes several denominations from the countries which it washeth, and surrounding the dry lands, cuts out and shapes so many winding bays, creeks, and meandering inlets, seems nowhere so much confused, I don't know what that is, and penned into so narrow a channel as the Straits of Magellan. So the Straits of Magellan is very significant because it connects the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean, right? Now, where is the Strait of Magellan? So they say, just looking this up real quick. They're saying that it's right here. That is literally in South America. They're saying that it's this right here. But they're really trying to hide something. They're trying to hide the fact that Antarctica was connected, right? And if it wasn't connected, then it had a very thin piece of water in between. Now this is a very important place, especially if it's for you to put ships in. Now it says Estrecho de Magallanes, but that means pretty much the Strait of Magellan. So they're not saying that it was in between South America. No, they're saying it was in between South America and Antarctica. That's what it was before. Let me show you what I mean real quick. So it would have been right here. But again, the land is much different from even 500 years ago. So I'm just saying it's pretty important, right? Even according to them. They actually used the Strait of Magellan to do a lot of their back and forth between the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. The conquistadors, they used it. Let me see. From once again, soon expectating, it spreads itself into two immense and almost boundless oceans. That which opens to the north gives terminaries to the four regions of the earth, that to the south, one lead to Asia and America, both which indeed are but one continued sea, extending itself round the universal globe. This watery part of the world, that almost through all ages lay fallow, hath in this or these later times been furrowed by several expert and stout captains, who now by their art and industry have given a good account of and made clear discoveries from east to west, wherever the sun rises or sets. Let me see. This is a very important place, the Strait of Magellan. A very important place if you want to travel the world, especially between Asia and America, right? Now we know that there's connections with Asia and the Americas. We know that there are. but had to get back and forth, right? And this person is saying this has to be the place because this is what connects it. This is pretty much what connects the whole world together. This area in South America on the tip of it, right? The northern boundaries under the Arctic zone have been hitherto so obstructed with ice that the undertakings of such as ventured either to find by the northeast or northwest a passage to India have been utterly frustrate. I don't know. Of the southern, no such pains hath as been taken in the discovery, so that for the most part it is yet unknown how far the water, either deep or shallow, overspreads the earth. Only thus much experience hath made out that the Antarctic needs lesser line to fathom than the Arctic Ocean. Now this is what I wanted to get to. The ancient Greeks, Phoenicians, and Romans, or whosoever that were renowned by antiquity, and listed in the number of their famous navigators, were no less timorous than ignorant concerning maritime affairs, and are not fit to stand in the least degree of competition with our later voyagers. Of old, by an inviolable law made by custom, according to Pliny, Vegetus, and others, the sea was locked up from the 11th of October to the 10th of March, no ships daring to venture forth, dreading short nights and foul weather. Neither in summer did they so much as once offer, unless driven by storms, to attempt to often, I don't know, that's F or S, but so lose fight of land. Yet there is no question but that several nations in former ages made it their business, spending their whole time and wearying themselves in the practical art of navigation. And the rest of this pretty much says that King Solomon used the Strait of Magellan because they're using the Strait of Magellan, right? But then they have a question because they're just like, well, how could Solomon? I'll just read it. Lastly, it signifies as little what Peneda and Lavinius Dominus drive at, that Solomon first finding the use of the compass, rigged a navy at Ezion-Geber, which from the Red Sea had no indirect course to the Straits of Magellan. So they're saying that Solomon had to use the Strait of Magellan, but they're saying, well, how could Solomon have gone here from the Red Sea, where they're putting the Red Sea, where they're putting Ezion-Geber? Now, where did I put the Red Sea? I put the Red Sea in Antarctica, didn't I? Now, if this was a trading port, Solomon who went around the whole world, I'm pretty sure that he would put his vessels in a place where it would be easy for them to go throughout the whole world. Now, where did I put the lands of Israel? If you guys remember, I put the lands of Israel, the northern kingdom, like the land of Asher. It's all the way up here in the west coast of the Americas. Our land stretches all the way down into Chile, Uruguay, Argentina. Then you have the area of Amalek, right? The rest of this is the land of Edom. I also put some of this land of Namibia, also as some of the land of Edom as well. So Solomon, according to my map, Solomon's port was somewhere in that area of South America, the tip of South America. over here in Lower Africa, or somewhere in Antarctica as well, right? So that's where I would put the land of Edom. And Ezion-Geber is in the land of Edom. And if I put the Red Sea in Antarctica, then where is Ezion-Geber? I would put Ezion-Geber in this area right here. Right? That's where I would put it. From whence he might lade his vessels with the gold of Peru. So they're saying that Solomon must have laid his gold with the gold of Peru. But here's the thing. They're putting Ophir as Peru. Why? Because they're still saying that Solomon came from somewhere else and went to the Americas. And that's not the truth. If he has gold from Peru, it's because he's from Peru, not because he visited Peru. And if he's using the Strait of Magellan, it's not to get to Peru, it's to get to other parts of the world. So we have to reverse everything that they're saying. But there's obvious that there's a connection with King Solomon and South America, as well as David. Drop even knows this, even though he believes that the land is in North America. You know, he still believes that the land, that Solomon was in a lot was in South America. Right? Now we're going to read this. Did humans approach the southern tip of South America more than 18,000 years ago? So they've pretty much found all of these different artifacts, right, in the tip of South America. Now, what happened at Ezion-Geber? We'll go back to the article. What happened? Let's read some of these. They traveled from Ezion-Geber and encamped in the wilderness of Zin. The same is Kadesh. Where is the wilderness of Zin? Where did I put it? Right here. The Atacama Desert. So we passed by our brothers, the children of Esau. Passed by our brothers. Passed by our brothers to go to where? Who dwelt in Seir, the Atacama Desert, from by the way of Araba, from Elath, and from Ezion-Geber. We turned and passed by the way of the wilderness of Moab. King Solomon made navy ships in Ezion-Geber, which is beside Elath, on the shore of the Red Sea, in the land of Edom. Jehoshaphat made ships of Tarshish to go to Ophir for gold, but they didn't go, for the ships were broken at Ezion-Geber. Are these the broken ships? Is this all the broken stuff that they found? Let's go down. Obviously, more intensive archaeological investigation of the site may yield more information, but one of the most interesting things about the Monte Verde sites is that the overall situation is not very exceptional. The peat-rich sediments do preserve organic material and evidence for burned features very well, but otherwise the Monte Verde 1 occurrences are just streamside torrents with small-scale fires and some artifacts. There should be hundreds of stream banks in South America with the same archaeological potential. There's something I want to read. Here it is. A coastal maritime lifestyle of some kind must have existed in Southeast Asia well before 25,000 years ago and enabled humans to occupy Okinawa by 18,000 years ago. No, let me read above that. The idea is that kelp forest ecosystems in the coastal waters of northeastern Asia and North and South America are highly productive habitats. Once people had the ability to move within the coastal waters, they would have had a very easy time hopping among those coastal kelp forests. So anyway, they're pretty much like they're saying without giving them the credit that they traveled, that there was a connection with Southeast Asia and the Americas, as we've been going over on this channel. We know from the experiences of the Polynesians within the last 2,000 years that the island hopping does not lead inexorably to success on every island. Some populations find favorable spots and can grow rapidly if they come equipped with the right technology, and for Polynesians that technology includes domesticated plants and animals. But other occupations are purely ephemeral. For a maritime gathering and fishing population without domesticated plants and animals, I'm not sure we should consider it surprising if they did not spend inland for a few thousand years after they had first established some coastal presence in South America. But even more interesting is the possibility that they did spread inland. The earliest sites in North America might even represent a back migration of people from South America. I probably have been too influenced by the assumption of logistic growth for early inhabitants of the Americas, as assumption that greatly downplays the challenges of developing effective cultural means of supporting population expansion into ecologies. The spread of modern humans from Africa seems to have taken tens of thousands of years. As a time average rate, modern humans moving across southern Asia or into Europe or across Australia all seem to have been much slower than many of us been assuming for the Americas. Sure, many of the old world cases involve possible encounters with other human populations, but we know now that mixture was an option. Okay. Modern humans encountering well-adapted Neanderthals, mixing with them and witnessing Neanderthal cultures, should have expanded into Europe vastly more rapid than ancient mariners who found themselves on the coast of South America. Imagine being born into a culture with rich legacy of thousands of years of cultural knowledge and coastal resources, and instead of following the ways of your ancestors, decide to strike into Patagonia or into the Amazon rainforest or across the Atacama Desert. The archaeologists who consider the initial habitation of the Americas have long thought about these logistical issues, and there are no easy answers. The South America may well have been home to the last glacial. What are you talking about? You guys can read this article, but this article pretty much goes over that there were people, maritime people, in the tip of South America, right? That's very huge. Now, just one last thing. Ezion-Geber was a seaport of Solomon, and later the kings of Judah, located at the northern end of the Gulf of Apaka, Aquapa, in what is now, Point is that all of the Judaic kings used the seaport. Now, would it surprise me that if the Incas would be down there, all the way at the tip of South America? Not at all. And I'm pretty sure that they were. I just can't remember, and I didn't feel like getting it, because that stuff's annoying to look up. But we're going to look into the Valley of the Moon, right? Perhaps the Atacama's most famous destination is the Valle de la Luna, aka Valley of the Moon. This stunning location is so named because the landmark resembles something you're more likely to encounter on the moon than in South America. So the moon is very bright here. It is very huge here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. So I type in Valley of the Moon and they don't show the moon. There's a decent picture. But yeah, The moon is very huge here. Like, you wouldn't believe. Yeah, this is a better picture. Like, this is incredible. Right? Now, would you believe where this is? The Valley of the Moon? Would you believe that it's literally right next to Mount Uyayako? Right here. It's in the same area. Now we're going to look up, what does Mount Sinai mean? Because as you can see, the moon is incredibly bright here. It's incredibly big here. It's very prevalent here. This tumultuous of black stone. This tumulus of black stones was constructed to host a white stone, intentionally shaped by man as a crescent lying on a boulder. After debate, it was concluded that this was a detectory monument, a galid, which by the desert people of the early Bronze Age dedicated to the mountain, to the moon, dedicated the mountain to the moon, or rather to the moon god Sin. So I just wanted to read that real quick. That had nothing to do with the Atacama Desert, but they're trying to prove, that that Mount Sinai is over there. But Sin comes from the moon god, I believe the Akkadian or Sumerian. But just remember that the moon god is called Sin, right? Same way how you have Mount Nebo, you also have Mount Sinai. Now, Mount Sinai could also be a play on the mountain, on how dry the mountain is, because Zin also means dry, so it can mean moon or dry. Mount Horeb is thought to mean glowing heat, which seems to be a reference to the sun, while Sinai may have derived from the name Sin, the Sumerian deity of the moons, or the Sumerian, and thus Sinai and Horeb would be the mountains of the moon and sun, respectively. Right? Wait, why am I in LinkedIn? I don't know. Point is that Mount Sinai, mountain of the moon, valley of the moon. So that's all I wanted to show you. The video wasn't supposed to be all that long. I think that's about it. So I'll come at you with another video tomorrow, and we're going to speak on a really heavy drop. We're going to speak on the Orients. I'll leave this link in the description in case anyone wants to check it out, if you haven't seen this already. May peace be with you. Salakallah.